And good morning. It's Sunday, the 22nd of April. You're with the Crypto Divas, me, Gillian Gotzel, and my co-partner, Morgan Pierce. And we're going to talk about good week, bad week. So, Morgan, maybe you're going to kick off the day's proceedings?
Sure. Let's see. I'll start with a piece of good news, I guess, and that is that Coinbase bought a company called arent.com for over $100 million. So it's one of the very first cryptocurrency acquisitions, which is why it's notable, because there's more than 1,500 cryptocurrencies, and there will be consolidation where some of the smaller companies won't make it by themselves, but they will be acquired by other companies. So it is the beginning of the period of consolidation, and Coinbase's acquisition of arent.com is the first example of that. So a brand new industry is starting to bud out from the crypto financial services asset category. It's pretty cool.
Wow, yeah, M&A season. That's interesting.
Exactly.
And then I have a story. It's a good one, although on the face it doesn't sound so good. The SEC have moved against the third founder of the Centra Tech, an ICO that became quite famous. It was shilled up by people like Floyd Mayweather, and it was a credit card. That was the whole idea. But it turned out, they raised $32 million, but it turned out to be a total scam, nothing behind it. And there were lots of fake texts going around that have been uncovered saying, get me a fake passport or blame the freelancers. And so although the man Raymond Trapani, who's now been arrested, a co-founder, he faces up to 20 years in prison if found guilty. Obviously, the US is very extreme when it comes to prison sentences. So I'm not cheering about that, but it does mean that people will think twice before trying to do scammy ICO. So I think it's overall positive, not for the founders, but for the industry in general.
Right. Well, and here's an ICO scam actually with a twist. There's a crowd called SaveDroid that completed a $50 million ICO, and then after they completed the $50 million ICO, they put up a website with a South Park meme on it that said, "And it's gone." And then the guy tweeted from his Twitter account, as if he were sitting on a beach with a beer in the photograph, looking out over a nondescript beach, saying it's so easy to scam the ICO world, and left that impression in the marketplace for a couple of days. But that it actually turns out that he came back online 2 days later and said that he had done that to teach the ICO world a lesson about how easy it is to actually scam ICO investors, and that his real business that he's just finished raising $50 million for is an ICO advisory service. And it was a publicity stunt for launching his own advisory service. So, to his point, investors do need to be careful. People can raise money for something that looks fantastic on a piece of white paper, and then off you go. They've taken your money and they're gone.
And what was the underlying original project that he was supposedly raising money for?
So it has something to do with saving a certain amount of cryptocurrency called SaveDroid. It was like a piece of technology that would automatically force you to save a certain amount of money into cryptocurrency. Wow. Kind of like a forced savings plan, and then a credit card, fiat to crypto, or crypto to fiat credit card coupling to that SaveDroid technology.
Clever. Yeah, wow, that's interesting.
Very clever, but still, it does point out that the cryptocurrency investor and consumer does need to know how to spot scams and how to protect themselves.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like to have invested in that and see that picture. That'd be kind of a horrible thing to see. All right. Okay, so more good news. I'm in Bermuda this time. I love Bermuda. I want to go there one day. And the Bermuda Monetary Authority, the BMA, really nice. They're seeking the opinion of residents on what they want for cryptocurrencies. And that's quite nice, because it's not like the SEC that can be a bit of a blunt instrument sometimes. It says, we're doing this, whatever. They actually want to find out from their residents what they want to create a crypto-friendly ecosystem. I mean, they were very early on in this. Obviously, Bermuda would be, a Caribbean country that looks at money anyway. But back in 2017, they set up the first task force in the country to look at what they could do in this area. So I think that'll be good news for them and good news for people who want to live in Bermuda.
And it's quite interesting that they're taking sort of like a garner the perspective of our citizens and see what they want to do with it.
I think that's very important, because you get much better feedback than trying to squeeze round pegs into square holes, because it is different. It is different. So I admire them for that.
Yeah. So I have a piece of news out of Chile. So in Chile, there were a number of different exchanges whose fiat bank accounts had been frozen by Chilean fiat banks as opposed to their exchanges. So they're dealing entirely in the cryptocurrency world, but people send their funds to a fiat bank. Same thing you do with Coinbase. You send your money to a bank in Estonia, and Coinbase holds that money in a bank account, and then the exchange into crypto was actually a digital occurrence, but your fiat currency stays on hand, right? And so in Chile, these exchanges had their fiat bank accounts frozen, and so they've taken legal action against them. And it's unconstitutional to freeze our assets on the basis that there is no clear regulatory guidelines. So
that's good. A pushback, yeah, that's good. And actually, speaking of exchanges, how the SEC has written to all the different exchanges asking them to come back with a whole rake of information. And apparently it's exhaustive what they're asking for. And the colourful CEO of Kraken, Jesse Powell, he said he's not going to do it. He's basically giving the fingers up to the US government, saying it's prohibitive, it's insulting, and I'm not going to do it. So that's interesting. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's interesting.
I can't imagine Kraken will be doing business with U.S. citizens very much longer. I don't know if they are. I can't remember if they are or not. I don't think.
I think they're based outside. I think one of the comments said that's why we're not in the U.S. So I think
really interesting.
But on a good note, then this is a cute one. I got two cute ones today actually. There's a new crypto wallet for kids being launched called a Piggy, and it's by Filippo Jacob, who's also Forbes under 30. He was helping kids to code. He's teamed up with John Marshall, who's previously built a DIY kit for kids again to build computers, and they created this piggy bank crypto wallet. It's a physical wallet, but there's also a smartphone app to go with it, and you can transfer money frictionlessly. That's the whole idea. And the tokens are called Wallows, I don't know, and they're new to avoid transaction fees. But I think it's a nice idea because kids, and I have another story too about kids too. Kids, it's like children using a smartphone or screen technology. We adults had to learn to do it, but children nowadays do it instinctively because they're native to this technology. So I think it's a good idea that bringing children as soon as.
Oh, it's a brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant idea.
Yeah. What I tell you my second one actually? No, I'd love this too.
Yeah. Please do.
I'm on a roll. This 12-year-old kid, his name was George Vikster, I think, and his dad Michael. They set up a company to address the issue of gaming. That's called a Pocket Quarters, and apparently, and I'm not a gamer, but when you quit a game, you often lose whatever coins you've accumulated during that game, and he wants his coin called a quarter to be available across all platforms. And the young chap, the 12-year-old, he's the CEO, and apparently when he was negotiating with his dad, he wanted an 80-20 split, and his dad said, come on now, I'm your father, I want a 50-50 split. And there was a bit of a wrangle, but the child slept on it, and the next day he agreed with it. And they're trying to get money out now, get some investment, and they're going to all the meetups and that. And there is a bit of a pushback. There was some other course they wanted to get on, and they said they loved the idea, loved everything, but they couldn't put a 12-year-old into this course, as they were saying. And as the dad said, Vitalik Buterin, he's only 19 now, and look at him. He's obviously a god in this area, and he worked with his father too as well. So I think the dad, whose name was Michael, is hoping that his son will go on and go well. I mean, and fair enough, kept on saying, his son George has a clarity of a 12-year-old. He's not, hampered by all this legacy thinking. Right. So I think kids are going to come in here and just wiping the floor with us oldies.
I think so.
That's good.
So the cryptocurrency market itself this week went from 325 billion, which is where we were when we had the Good Week, Bad Week last Sunday, and right now we're just at 395 billion, so just under 400 billion, and by all accounts, everything is going to continue to move up in a very positive direction. So we're back in a bull market.
Yeah, that's good. All very positive.
Very much so. Awesome.
That's all your news?
All my news for this week.
Well, the only thing I'm going to add in, it's a neither or, but there's this chap called Vice Miller. He calls it Mr. Bitcoin. He's actually got a chip in his hand to store his Bitcoin because it's safe. You can store up to 26 condensed Bitcoin private keys on it. It's a little glass thing the size of a grain of rice. But I think that's where we could be going. We'll have chips in our hands. We'll be opening bank accounts and paying for stuff by just waving it. Get the cards. So it's all very mad. So we're just back from Amsterdam, of course. We were at the InZero conference, and we were talking about, we were there as a Crypto Divas, and there as a Mingo PR. So we were all meeting a lot of interesting people in Amsterdam. Amsterdam's a very happening city. It was a great conference. Thank you, Paul, for the conference, the InZero conference. A shout out to it. It was a great event. So how was the week? Do we think it was a good week?
I think all in all, it was a pretty good week in crypto. Yeah.
As I say, we had a heat wave in Amsterdam too as well, so it was just perfect.
Awesome.
So good week. See you next week.